that point, I was so broke. I was living in a one-bedroom apartment, splitting it with my buddy, and he could afford to pay more. So he got the bedroom, and I got the love seat. That was my bed for about 8 months. Okay.
Welcome into another week of Couzins Conversations. Joining me this week, weekend sports anchor in Springfield, Missouri, Chris Pinson. Chris, how are we doing today?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic. Always good to see you, man.
Oh, yeah, we've been bouncing ideas back and forth for many years now in different jobs, so it's good to sit down and talk about our careers and how you got into this career, man. It's inspiring and it's different than a lot of other people's. You didn't get into this career how a lot of other people in this career got into it. So I'm just going to give you the floor and you tell the people how you got into this career.
All right. So like you was absolute sports nut. Grew up loving and playing pretty much every sport outside tackle football because at 5'8", 150, you're not really built for the punishment. I don't care what Devontae Smith says, okay? But regardless, right? I played every sport and I loved playing them. I've always loved talking about them. And then when I was younger, I realized, wait a minute, if I can't be a pro athlete, someone can still pay you to go cover the games and maybe there's free food. Dude, what a dream, right? So, all right. So from the time I was probably 8, 9, 10 years old, I decided I want to be a sports broadcaster. And so, I spent middle school years, high school years, college years doing just that, right? Broadcasting games, doing play-by-play for everything from Little League baseball to basketball, volleyball, you name it. I've pretty much called it. But as far as getting into the local sports gig, that took way more work and way more tireless effort than I ever thought. Because like you, Nick, went to college for it. I went to UCF down in Orlando, had a great time there learning how to do this trade. However, when I came out of college, didn't get a job offer. Never had a job offer, actually. And so I spent from 2012, I graduated December 2012. I spent from that time through December of 2019 trying to get a job in television, right? Which sounds insane because, when you have graduated for 7 years and you still haven't gotten into your career or your major you wanted to be in, most people would probably give up at that point. It's just like, hey, maybe the path wasn't supposed to be what you thought it would be, right? But I've tried everything in between. I was in sales a couple times, didn't like that. I was a middle school teacher. Had fun with that, but realized it wasn't my passion. So that really kind of pushed me into becoming a sports broadcaster again. And so from there, I jumped into local radio and I went back to my hometown and I became the midday DJ on a country station called OJ 99.1. And then from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, 5 days a week, I had my own 2-hour ESPN talk show. And, those different avenues, those different pathways were great because, like an internship, it teaches you what you want to focus on, teaches you what you don't want to focus on or do. I remember when I was a senior at UCF and I interned at Golf Channel for 4 months all summer long, I was on the morning show, on Morning Drive. That's when it was stationed in Orlando. And I quickly realized, unless someone's paying me a lot of money to wake up before the rooster crows, I don't ever want to be a morning person. And I say that with respect because the morning crew is actually in that office behind me. But seriously, I don't like waking up early and I never wanted to. So those things were invaluable because, right, it shapes you. It teaches you who you are as a person and what you do or don't want to do. That's what life is all about. So finally, in December of 2019, I contacted a guy that worked at WCJB TV 20 in Gainesville, the ABC affiliate. And I said, hey, look, I have this dream. I know I can do this. Here's my tape. Can you look at this? And if you think I can't do it, tell me up front. If you think I can, let's talk. And so he thought I could. And I went in there to TV 20 in January of that year of 2020, right before COVID hit. And I sat down with the news director and the sports director, and I applied for a weekend photography part-time job, right? So I'm the weekend video guy for the sports department. I start February 4th. The first month goes well, and then COVID hit. And one of my last games I ever covered during that time of that spring was the 18-point second half collapse by Florida's men's basketball team under Mike White to John Calipari in Kentucky.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, that was one of the last ones I ever covered. And then boom, the world shuts down and
Yeah.
everybody, right? There's no more sports. So my news director says, hey, look, either you can stay on board, work behind the scenes and stay in TV, or that's it. You got to find something else to do. And so I said, all right, I'll jump behind the scenes and transition. And so I worked my way for the next 5 or 6 months, working behind the scenes and I would do mock sportscasts after my sports director would do them. And I kept getting practice and making sure I was staying on top of mind. So through hard work, when my time came and our friend Sierra Clark, who was my predecessor there, when she left to go to Arkansas, I was the guy, and who else would they choose, right? Because I'm already in-house. So we got the gig.
Yeah, Sierra was on the show last week, so there we go. Great person in the industry as well. But yeah, you said 7 years, you stuck it out, and then you get right when you get in, you have another thing that almost takes you out of it, man. I mean, everyone should feel for you, man. But you always keep your head up. And what I really like about kind of your own little like take on things is like you have a great way of just explaining it to people and like going in depth on things, and it's almost like a story time with Chris, man. I feel like that's how it feels like to me when I watch your stuff. Where do you think that comes from? Does that come from years of just kind of that grind that you're talking about, just learning your voice and what works and all those things?
A little bit, right? So I could tell you one of the most valuable experiences that I learned was when I was in local radio. Again, right, what we do in television, right? Television has such a short, finite amount of space and time to get your point across. That's why you and I in our schooling and everybody else you talk to, what's the rules? Give it to me concisely. Give it to me with a head catcher, right? A quick one. And those things are great, but honestly, it took me probably longer than I think it should to grasp the concept of having a conversation, opening and closing that in radio. And I can't tell you, I mean, I drove my sports director, I drove our program director nuts when I was down there at Highlands ESPN in Sebring, Florida, because he said, man, he goes, I get it. He goes, you want to be on TV because you're so ingrained in TV for the personality. He goes, and this and that. He goes, but because you have to learn how to have a real conversation, a sustainable conversation. He said, you can do it for a little bit. He goes, but then you kind of lose traction. He goes, or you just don't really, build it up. He goes, and you have to be able, right, as we know, and as he said, whether it's a conversation or a song, not every conversation or song that's ever written or played, right, is a number one hit. It has to have something behind it that makes you want more of it, to hear more of it, to be like, man, something about it's rattling around. And that whole thing took me a while to actually get better at. But since then, I feel like I've become a better speaker and a better storyteller because I did it for 2 years and I know how to do that. And again, right, in our business in TV, I feel like sometimes off script, right, or off the camera. Not everybody in TV is actually a great speaker, a great conversationalist, really. And so I pride myself on trying to do that. And like you, I think one of the best things that helped me, of course, is doing play-by-play, because whether you're a one-man person or a two-man team or a three-person rally, you have to learn how to believe that you are talking with your best friend on the couch. And between doing that from the time I could play Super Nintendo video games through today, I still go to the pool here in town because I play a lot of pool. I still go there, and whether my buddies are playing pool with me, I'm playing by myself, or I'm watching TV, I still do it. I just talk it out loud, and people think I'm insane, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's just who I am, and it's just what I love to do, which is sit down and watch a game and just talk about it.
I'll go to a sporting event with friends and they'll hate me because I'm like, hey, that home run, that's a good highlight right there, or like, hey, this guy, he had a lot of home runs the last couple of games. Like, my friends don't want to know that. They're just like, bro, just drink your beer, enjoy the game. We don't want to hear that. You're out of office right now.
I will tell you so I know this is probably the craziest I've ever looked, but I remember back when I was in Sebring, I was doing the radio thing, and me and one of my best friends since middle school, we were sitting at the bar section of Chili's. So we're sitting there, and I'll never forget this. We're watching regular season game, but it's late in the season. It's Yankees Red Sox, and it's bottom 9, Yankee Stadium. Red Sox lead by 3 runs. Mark Teixeira, in his last year in pinstripes and in his career, really, is at the plate. He's never hit a walk-off grand slam. So me and Cody were sitting there at the bar, and I'm just kind of giving this conversation, saying all these kind of things. And I said, boy, I said, wouldn't it be a dream finisher for Teixeira to hit one here? Next pitch, bro. Hanging breaking ball 3-2. He lifts it to right, short porch, gone. And I mean, I just exploded right there. There is right. And everybody in the bar is turned around like, what? And my buddy's like, just.
I don't know him.
And so after this hysteria, my buddy just gets up and goes to the bathroom and goes, I'm going to go hide in the stall. He goes, and when I come back, he goes, you better be in my car. I'll pay for everything. He goes, just please leave the bar, bro. Please. But I can't help it. It's just my nature, you know?
Can't help it. And yeah, there's been a lot of experiences like that too. Like when Kansas won the national championship in 2021. I mean, I was with my buddy who went to North Carolina. And so we were just like feuding back and forth, like in a bar in Fargo, North Dakota, of all places. And people are like, what are these guys like? What are these guys so invested in the game for? You know? And then but as soon as KU made that 19-point comeback in the second half, I'm getting in his face, and then he had to walk away. And all people are like asking us, why are you guys so mad at each other? Like, so it's funny in that way, just
it's
to
sports,
be.
Man. It's sports.
Yeah, it's sports. That's why we love it.
I love it, yeah.
One of my favorite segments you do, though, is the Pinson versus the pros, because I am an avid golfer myself. I used to be better than I am now, but that's a different story.
Hey, you know, it's funny. Work and life get in the way of play and fun, don't they?
Yes. And I used to play a lot more in high school. I was better in high school, and then I didn't have a car in college, so I didn't really play a lot. So a couple of years.
You can't travel with your stick.
Yeah. So I've been working it back up lately, so I'm kind of, getting better to where I was before. But anyway, what made you come up with that concept other than just the cool name?
So, again, like you, right? I love golf. I mean, golf is by far my favorite sport. If I could have been a pro sport athlete, it would have definitely been golf. Even though I played college tennis, right? I played golf all my life, but never really took it serious until college. Like got a couple lessons and figured out how to get better and play better. And then when I was in TV, as you and I both know, summertime is our downtime. Mm-hmm. It's great because we get to finally take vacation, catch our breath, and relax. But there's also nothing to really cover, right? Like the school calendar. So at that time, my boss at that time came to me and he goes, look, I know this is your first real summer working in TV. He said, but aside from all the downtime you have or vacation time you want to take, he goes, this is really when it's kind of your time to shine. This is when we want to see your creativity, because no longer is it truly just about highlights and, nightly shows that we can cover everything under the sun. So I sat there and thought for probably, I don't know, an hour or so. And I was like, well, I live in Gainesville, Florida. There's a dozen courses within a 30-minute drive, an hour drive at the most. What if I can just kind of call a couple ones and say, hey, for free publicity, would you let us shoot lessons and would you let us help publicize and give you more notoriety, help spread the love of the game? And that's really what I did it for. And so right in turn, they got free publicity on the number one station in North Central Florida pretty much. And I got to go film golf. And so, yeah, between the lessons with the pros and the signature holes and the Pinson versus the pro, I thought, okay, look, I can break 80 on the regular, right? That's like, I'm proud of that. I can shoot now. I'm like a 3 or 4 now. I've gotten pretty good. And so I was like, you know what? In one hole, anything can happen, right? One pitch, one swing, whatever you want to say, anything can happen. So I figured, why not have some fun and let the viewers, instead of going, okay, it's another lesson I don't care about because I don't golf. Or, ooh, it's grass in a hole, who cares? Why not have somebody get invested and say, wait a minute, the sports guy can actually play sports? Okay, I want to see this. And I can't tell you how many people between Gainesville, Florida, and Springfield, Missouri come up to me in public and go, yo, you're the golf guy, right? And I'm like, yes, I am.
People don't understand, if they're not golfers, that's pretty hard. Because usually if I'm trying to go golfing, I need to get to the range, hit about 50 to 75 balls. But you're out here going to one hole with the pro and hitting shots, and that's extremely difficult. Is it hard for the pro too? Like, is he also struggling, or is she also struggling?
So it's funny. The hardest part about all of it, as you said, right, is that you're doing that, right? It's just one hole. So you only get one good swing, one chip or one putt really. But the hardest part about it is that no one realizes when you're doing it, right? Luckily, I do. I've always had a cameraman for it, right? Which is nice. So it's me having one camera to run and my photographer running the other one. We always do a two shot, which is great. However, the hardest part is, right, I'm the one really in charge, right? I'm directing it, I'm producing it, I'm storing in it. And so the pros, they actually realize how hard it is too, because, right, it's like, okay, walk in the camera and right, I have to give direction. Okay, when you walk in the camera, I want you to say something funny or witty or kind of biting, right? Because it should be two friends like you and your boys, right, talking smack. So it's like, okay, walk in the camera. All right, I want you to pause over the ball. Okay, relax. Okay, get back over the ball. Let's do our tie chops, right? There's such a process that you and I
Mhm.
are familiar with, but they don't know about that stuff because they've never done it. So for them, it is very hard because I'm asking them to pretty much also hit a golf ball cold because they're not swinging a club for and waiting. They're doing all this TV stuff and then getting up there and then trying to concentrate and hit the golf shot. So in one sense, we're finally on equal footing because I know they're better than me because they're a club pro. But when
Mhm.
you actually make them go through all those rigors, it kind of does even the level playing field. And I will tell you, luckily for me, I've never been a range rat. I've just been go on the course and figure it out. So I take a couple of swings, loosen the old back muscles, and let it fly and see what happens.
Usually it's I hit the front nine. I'm like, all right, this could be a good back nine because if I didn't hit the range or anything like that, has it made you a better golfer though?
Oh, for sure, right? Like pressure wise, yes. Now, granted, have I beaten a pro? I've done it once. I've only done it once in 7 episodes, so I'm still trying to get better and better. But again, pressure wise, it is fun, and I think it does make you handle pressure better because you realize it is on camera. You only get one take to do it, so you have to be able to commit to the shot and believe in yourself that you're going to do what you want to do. And I will tell you again, it's funny. I did have one guy in Gainesville, just a regular viewer. He once came up to me at a football practice, and he says, "Hey, you're the golf guy, right? The Pinson versus the pro." I said, "Yes, sir. Hey, Chris Pinson. Nice to meet you." He goes, "Man, I'm not gonna lie." He goes, "I thought you were totally full of it." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "I thought you were gonna get murdered by these guys. He goes, you got a decent swing." I said, "Well, sir, that means a lot more than you know. So thanks."
That's awesome, man. I wish I got that. I mean, I'd probably go up there and like, even though I'm a good golfer, like shank the tee shot or hit a big hook to the right or whatever. Well, anyway, what looking back at some of the courses that you played, do any stand out? One that you liked or ones that your favorite?
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's funny. Springfield, Missouri, college town, right? A lot of college towns are similar, but not all the same. Springfield, Missouri, I tell people all the time, is so much like Gainesville. I mean, and I don't mean that in the sense of it's a college town. I mean that in the sense of the college here at Missouri State, right? It's the biggest one, but there are some surrounding smaller colleges. But right, that's like the hub of the university setting. But Springfield, like Gainesville, it's got a decent size to it. But there are so many smaller country towns in the immediate surrounding area. Like in Gainesville, you've got Brantford and Bradford and Bronson, and Bellevue and a lot of other ones there. Out here, it's Fair Grove, it's Thayer, it's Sarcoxy. I mean, all these different towns out there that are similar in format. And golf is too. Out here, tons of golf courses. Missouri, Springfield, Missouri is a golf hub. And so, public wise out here, I would say that I really enjoy in town. Bill and Payne Stewart. I mean, how could you not love going to a course named after one of the best golfers of all time, right? Payne Stewart, such a legend. But if you go an hour south to Branson, right, which is like the little Las Vegas of the Midwest, down there they do have Big Cedar Lodge, which is owned by Bass Pro founder Johnny Morris. And I tell people all the time, it is amazing what that man can do with dirt, dynamite, and a whole lot of money. Because he's got three courses I go shoot these at. It's Ozarks National, it's Buffalo Ridge, and it's Payne's Valley, which is the Tiger Woods designed and inspired course. So I've gotten to film segments on each of them. I've done a Pinson versus the Pro on each of them. My dad actually came out here. We played Payne's Valley. So yeah, those three courses. I mean, it's hard to find more pristine courses that don't say Pebble Beach or Augusta National. Put it that way.
Yeah, Quad Cities is the same way here, that Illinois-Iowa border. You actually have a PGA Tour event that comes here every summer, the John Deere
Yeah.
Classic, at a TPC course. So it's super nice, as you know about Sawgrass and all that, being
Oh
from
yeah.
Florida. Super nice course, super hilly. And the cool thing was, this last year is they let us play the course before the pros. And I'm sitting on the white tee box, which is the normal tee box that I hit from. And
Same.
I asked the staff, I was like, where do the pros hit from? And I look 100 yards back, and that's where the tee box is. I'm like, this is already a 400-yard hole. Like, this is
Yeah.
already a hard hole, and you're telling me that this is like a 500-yard hole. I'm like, this is crazy. And so I'm just trying to get it in the fairway, and I'm just trying to, I'm trying to get on the green.
100%, dude. It is such a different game. And like, I've got buddies of mine that I play with. I mean, I played with since middle school. Right. If I tattoo a drive, it goes, I mean, all of 250, probably with some roll in there, 250, maybe 260 if it's summertime and the ground's dry. And so they get mad because they're like, we play back here and you should too. And I'm like, brother, I can't just magically add on 20 or 30 yards to make a 400 plus yard par four shorter. And no offense, I don't want to spend all 18 holes playing driver 4-iron, driver hybrid. I want to hit driver 7-iron, okay? You guys play back there because that's your distance. This is my distance, okay?
That's a smart way to play always. Driver 7-iron, and then hopefully you're not two putting.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Quick shout out to Brady Street Blends. They've got everything I've been loving lately: protein coffees and shakes, greens, even clean energy drinks. All the stuff that keeps me fueled and feeling good. And here's the best part: just show that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, and you'll get $1 off any drink. Seriously, it's that simple. $1 off. So next time you need a boost, grab your favorite blend, shake, or energy drink from Brady Street Blends. Big thanks to them for teaming up, and let's get back to the show. And the other thing too, like you mentioned that Gainesville and Springfield are pretty similar. Did that help with transitioning to a different part of the country? Because the Midwest / South, because I guess Missouri's kind of on that edge.
Yeah, yeah. Missouri's in a weird place geographically.
Yeah.
As far as
I went to Kansas, so it's like the same thing there. It's like Midwest, but also South. So
yeah.
but it's definitely different than from the Southeast. So
100%.
what helped you, acclimate to where the people, they say, are Midwest nice?
Right. I guess because we're in the Midwest, Southeast region. I mean, there's no difference really in the kind of people or the kindness of people, I guess. Right. Again, being in Florida, some people consider Florida to be a weird southern state, or not that southern, but trust me, it's a southern state. So right, there wasn't that much difference in the compassion or the kindness of people, which is great. But obviously, moving to a place that has this weird frozen water that falls from the sky, it's called snow, and I'm still like just mind blown about it. You feel me? Like, it is so weird, dude. It's so weird to know that right now it's dipping below 60 very soon. Like today, high of 65, loving it. In a week, it's not going to be that way. So I'm not looking forward to winter ever. But honestly, it's been great. Like, I love the fact that I moved out here and I do have 4 full seasons. Winter out here, right? Again, you're not that far. Like, you're far from me, but not that far. But right, being 3-4 hours from you, 5 hours, it is a big difference in the amount of snow we get. So I'm thankful that here in Springfield, we get a snow day here or two there with actual snowfall. It lasts 4 days, maybe a week at the most, and then it's gone, right? So, and even in January and February, I can still actually go golf sometimes. So I love that. I know you in Iowa, not a chance until belts by May, right?
No.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's been warm as long as it has, to be honest with you.
Dude, trust me, I've been loving it. Although Friday night, it's supposed to be, it's not supposed to get above 60 all day, and we got that steady Midwestern rain, which again, though, that's a big difference, right? In Florida, if there's rain, there's going to be chaos above, and you're probably not want to be outside. Out here, you can get some thunderstorms, but a lot of times that steady Midwestern rain, man, that is the best sleeping weather you can ever hope to have in your life.
Oh yeah, you leave that screen door or that window open, and you're feeling good about life. You're sleeping good, like a baby.
That's right.
Yeah, for sure. When you mentioned the summers in Springfield, obviously a big attraction in the summer there is the AAA team for the Cardinals, the Springfield Cardinals. what is it like covering a AAA team? Because that's only one step away from MLB. Here we have the High A Royals team, the Quad Cities River Bandits. So if you see a prospect, they're only they're a couple years away still from getting into the majors, except for Jack Caglione. He moved up within a year. That was an anomaly. But with the Cardinals, who are some cool players you've seen, and what's it like covering a team that these guys are going to be in the majors soon?
Okay, so technically this is the Double A affiliate.
Double A.
Double A,
Okay.
yeah, right. So we're still 2 steps away, but either way, I mean, dude, I love this. Like, I love watching covering high school and college sports, right? Because you get to see the true grassroots of up and coming athletes, right? And you get to follow their journey. Like when I was in Gainesville, I was there when Caglione was there. So getting to see him, and even though he didn't remember me, obviously, but getting to see him when he came here to Springfield, to Hammons Field, with Arkansas's team, it was awesome. Like being like, wow, I covered that guy, and I moved out here, and now he's here for, of course, a cup of coffee because he just
Yeah.
obliterated the baseball. But again, that's the fun part of our job. Like it's right. It's almost like being in this job is almost like having a high school reunion, right? Because when you get to see the athletes you used to cover, it's like, wow, like, man, I followed you, but I'm glad to see you in person doing well. And so being able to do the same with these guys, I mean, I love covering professional sports the most just because it's a higher level. The athletes are more refined, right? But it's still and right, but they're that much closer to making or trying to make what they want out of life, and so I love that the most. And so getting to talk with guys, right? I just missed the Jordan Walker year, but a guy that I can say I could probably call a friend, honestly, is Victor Scott, starting center fielder for the St. Louis Cardinals. I was here last year when he got called up, and I mean, you talk about a dude that just goes out there and does what he has to do every day in life. That's the guy. That's the grinder. I mean, that's who he is, right? From stealing bases to running down balls in the gap to making these great highlight reel plays. That dude gives it his all every single day, and that kind of stuff is just, it's so inspiring because you see somebody that was born with a skill set and developed it and refined it and cultivated it, and it paid off. I mean, again, right? That's one person that had a skill set that a lot of people do, but they were one of the ones that life said, you know what? You've worked hard. We reward you. And so to me, it's inspiring to watch these guys. And like this year, being to cover a team that won the most games in franchise history, that had the best roster, the best bullpen, the best aces, and they won the championship to boot, and getting to cover them every day they were here, talking with the guys, finding out what makes them tick, hearing their backstories. That to me is so much fun because, again, these guys are working so hard to make their fleeting dream in life come true. And to see them get rewarded with a championship and come back here after a 14-hour bus ride at 9 a.m. in the morning, get off the bus and celebrate with the fans and the workers here with the Cardinals. Again, those are the moments that make you go, man, I get to do this for a living and I play a small role in that. It's a fulfilling feeling for yourself.
I'm sure St. Louis Cardinals fans are excited to hear about the future because it hasn't been so great for them these last couple of seasons with attendance down and Nolan Arenado possibly leaving. That's been all the talk this off season. What can Cardinals fans expect from this future since you've seen it? You said franchise record and wins. Victor Scott, one of those bright spots in the lineup this year. You talk about baseball highlights. You want to see home runs or RBI. He had defensive highlights that were crazy, diving catches, wall robbing home runs, things like that. What can St. Louis Cardinals fans want to know about the future, and how excited should they be?
It's such a hard question to answer because I think right now the biggest question mark for that team on the field is the pitching staff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Michael McGreevy's up there. I did get to cover him in 2023. He was here for, I think, the first month and a half when I was here, and then he got vaulted to Memphis, which is rightfully where he should be. First round draft pick a couple years ago anyways. But right, so you got him. Obviously, Sonny Gray, still good, but second year in a row, that second half velocity kind of going down. Don't know what they're going to do with him. They owe him a bunch of money. You mentioned Arenado. So here in Springfield, I can tell you that between Eshawn Henderson, Rincon, I mean, God, they're just it's Pete Hansen. I mean, we got guys that are all lefties. I mean, the strikeout rate that we had, swing and miss rate down here, it's why we were so dominant, why Springfield was so good all season long. These guys right now in Double-A, there's definitely 2 or 3 of them that can be in Memphis next year, maybe in the bigs if they want to really try to accelerate that process. But to me, the Cardinals pipeline right now is full of talent. It's got so many position players down here in Springfield and in Memphis that I've covered, like Thomas Ajayci, covered him as well. There's so many great position players they have. There's just not enough spots. And, you think about last year between Alec Burleson and Nolan Gorman, kind of shuffling back and forth. Lars Newbar's been hurt a bunch. I got to see him this year when he came down with Gorman. And talking to Patrick Anderson, the Springfield Cardinals manager of the year, by the way, when I asked him, hey, what did the big boys think? Like, we've had 2 or 3 down here this year. What did they think about the locker room, this clubhouse? And every time we asked him, he said, these guys have come down and they all agree. This locker room's got juice. It's got talent. It's got guys that across the board know the game. They talk about it. They're all friends. The conversations they have, as Anderson said, in the pitching room, he's rarely had a pitching staff that everybody brought something great to the table and shared it. So the pipeline is loaded. But again, the Cardinals got to figure out who they want to be. You want to be a team that's trying to win with youth, then you got to accelerate bringing those guys up and letting them get their hacks in the cages and taking some lumps. If you want to be a team that wants to win right now, then open your checkbook. It works for the Yankees. It works for the Mets. It works for the Phillies. It works for the Dodgers. Hello, they're back in the World Series.
Yep.
It doesn't guarantee success, but you and I both know if you're willing to spend and invest in your product and your resources, generally it's going to bode better than just saying, well, we're the Pirates or the Rays. Here's who we are. Here we're the A's. We can only afford so much. It's baseball. Spend some money, okay?
True, and the fact that they're in the wild card chase until the last couple of weeks of the season too. I mean, that has to mean something.
Right, and that's the hard part. It's such a double-edged sword. St. Louis fans have been spoiled forever because, sure, the 70s and 80s weren't great to them. They remember that. Right now we're going through a tough sledding, but overall, it's historically one of the top 3, top 4 National League franchises in all of baseball, right? Cardinals, Cubs, those 2 right there say it all about the National League, really. And so for me, I'm always a half glass full kind of guy. That's just who I am. I'm the power of persistence kind of person. But when you see the 15,000 fans only turn out for home summer baseball games in Busch Stadium, that tells you how disappointed the fan base is, how badly they think of the team right now and the management. But with John Mozeliak being gone now and Kai Bloom taking over, maybe they'll get back to where they want to be. Maybe fans will see better results and they'll flock back to the stands. But right now, the problem is it's like the NFL draft. Your fledgling team wins 5 or 6 games, you don't get a top 10 pick, which makes you mad. But you win a few more, you go, okay, we're in the middle somewhere. We might turn it around, or we might stay mediocre, and that's the problem. Either you're satisfied by mediocrity, or you are disgusted by it, right? The Nick Saban quote. And so to me right now, Cardinals fans don't know what to do. They're more disgusted than hopeful, but there's still enough hope to go, if we just win 5 or 10 more games, we're a playoff team. We're a contender. And that's, that is the margins we need are everywhere,
Yeah, that's not a bad place to be, honestly, as a fan. I mean, you look at me. I'm a fan of a terrible organization in the White Sox. But so you're literally just like tugging at the heartstrings where you're like, I think this guy's going to be good. He had a great season. Like the future is bright, especially at the end of this year. You saw a lot of the rookies that they got in the Chris Sale trade and all their trades you make. And you're like, or Colson Montgomery, you're like, oh yes, like finally. But if you're a Cardinals fan, I mean, I'm not upset because you're like, okay, yeah, we're like right on the edge of being good, but we have all this great young talent too. So you got to look at the glass half full sometimes.
You do also, right? You also know this as well. St. Louis is also a hockey town, right?
Yes.
And I can tell you again, covering the Blues teams, it's been fun to go up there. Now, by the way, I am winless in the Enterprise Dome, the Enterprise Center, I should say. I'm winless there. And so, matter of fact, Steve Savard, who was the longtime anchor up there in St. Louis forever and ever and ever at Channel 4, he told me one time, he goes, if you ever go back there for a Blues home game and I find out, because I will personally call the head of security and escort you out the building because you are bad luck for the Blues. But again, right, like this season, Blues fans last year, great second half resurgence, kind of reminiscent of that 2020 Stanley Cup playoff run. And they didn't get out of the first round, but there was hope. Now we're already 2 weeks in the season, and they are getting mollywopped. So the morale in St. Louis is staying low and remaining low. But as I tell people, it's a long season. I mean, look at the Chiefs, right? 3 weeks ago, everybody said the sky's falling, the dynasty's over, they're not the same. And 3 weeks later, from Colin Cowherd to CBS, and everybody's going, boy, Mahomes, what an MVP frontrunner. That Chiefs team, though, they're just so good. It's like, guys, I know you make your living talking, but have a competent thought, not just a read and react thought,
Yes, and as a Bears fan, it's the same way. You lose by, I don't want to remember how many points that loss was to the Lions, but it was a lot. And now you're looking at 4 wins in a row for the first time in 7 years.
Yeah.
So it's a long season, for all these fans. But we talk about it, because it's things to talk about.
And things to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say this. Nothing in the world makes me laugh harder, though, than some of the tirades that I hear on the score between White Sox fans and Bears fans.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, that fan base, I know it's been forever and a day since they've won something significant, but, dude, I mean, the amount of passion that those fans have, right? Again, the Chicagos, the New Yorks, those fan bases, they do live and die with every pitch and every turnover or touchdown. And it's so funny to hear them just go on the air and just let the world know how sick and tired they are of being sick and tired. I'll tell you that.
I that's why I did not like that the Bears open on Monday night, because that was another day of just talking about storylines that we don't even know about yet, because we haven't even seen the team play. And I understand it's sports talk radio, but I mean, some of the stuff I was tired of hearing about, and I'm like, I'm just gonna not listen, wait till the first game happens, and then see what happens.
Yeah, it's just the best. Like, I'll say this, right? I mean, one of the biggest question marks for you and I both, right, is what is this business we're in becoming, right? I mean, it's honestly becoming this. Like, this, what we're doing right now, really is the new age model. Again, I work for Nexstar station, and Nexstar right now, they're putting a lot of their eggs in the podcasting basket. Some could say that they are really behind the curve because between Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook Live, and of course TikTok and YouTube, there's a billion people out there like you and I right now trying to make our voices heard, trying to figure out how to get people to draw into this, right? And say, oh, we love this guy. But again, this is just like sports talk radio. That's the beauty of it. It is turning yourself into a conversationalist, not a reporter, not just a person talking highlights. And so, again, that's why I think it's so important that the people doing this today and those coming up well after we've left college really understand that it's as every job application says that we see online. If you want to do scores and highlights, it's not for you. This is definitely this industry is changing so rapidly. So again, right, if you've got a popular account that does breakdowns or whatever it is, great. It's just about starting it and doing it and building it. And if something comes of it, great. If nothing does, hey, that's life too, But you have to always put in the time and put in the effort. Otherwise, you can't expect the results to happen when the work's never put in,
You think about what our generation has gone through. I mean, we've been adaptable through a lot of different things, not just how the industry is going with, digital first with a lot of things now, or website first over newscast type ideas, COVID, other things like that.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, but we are here adapting to it. What are some other digital things that you are doing? I've seen a lot. You post a lot on LinkedIn, Twitter. You're very active out there. What are some other ideas you have coming up, or ideas that you've explored so far?
Right. So I'm with basketball season on the horizon. One thing that I want to start doing, right, and I posted this the other day that you saw on LinkedIn. I would like to start a digital podcast or something like that called Hoops and Hobbies. Right. It's basketball season. Thank God we'll be indoors during the snow era. But right. So sitting there at Bears Media Day for Missouri State, talking with the guys and the gals on the teams, Everybody knows, right? Classic storyline. We cover athletes. What do all great athletes have in common? Great athlete, trains hard, gets good results. No one's different in that capacity, right? So what is different about the athlete themselves that's more relatable to you, the person? Because again, you and I both know most people that watch local news, by the time it gets to sports, a lot of them tune out because a lot of people honestly don't care. Half the country cares about sports, the half doesn't. And so for me, again, it's radio, it's podcasting, same concept. What is going to draw this person to me? What's going to make them want to go, I want to hear what this person has to say? Or, oh, who is Nick interviewing today? So I wanted to start doing a podcast or a digital segment called Hoops and Hobbies. And so I got to talk to Macy James, a senior transfer this year for the Lady Bears from Pitt State. I said, hey, tell me about yourself. Outside of training night and day for this sport and putting yourself in the books to become a better student and a productive member of society, what do you like to do? Like, who are you? What's your downtime escape or break from basketball? And she said, I love to cook and I love to craft. She can't wait to get her sewing machine. She does something called Cricut that I guess lets you design and style stuff. And, she talked about what she loves to cook. So I said, all right, one dish that you would put in front of Gordon Ramsay and one dish that you want to improve on. And she said her dish that she wants to improve on is steak.
Okay.
Her dad's a great grill master of steaks, so she wants to get better, which I recommended the Gordon Ramsay how to grill a steak on the stovetop. And then she said her best meal is comfort food, like fried chicken, greens, oven-baked mac and cheese. So we got into that concept. Hey, how do you cook it? Shredded cheese versus store-bought cheese, egg or butter. And again, that kind of stuff, because every person on earth, every creature on earth has to have food. So food is the more relatable intertopic of that conversation. So that is the kind of stuff I want to get more in depth on, because again, athletes are athletes. They all good athletes train. All athletes have to train to get better. But the soul of a person, what they do in their downtime, that is far more relatable to a wider reach of people. So that's the kind of stuff I feel like I can capitalize on and get more people to pay attention to the Lady Bears or Bears and go, oh, I like that player. You don't watch basketball, Bill. Well, you know what? This guy, he's big into, I don't know, pheasant hunting or fishing or whatever it is that makes you go, a basketball player likes to do these hobbies? Yeah. And that brings in a bigger, wider audience. So to me, it's about expanding. It's about expanding what the average person is more relatable to than just great athlete, practices hard, plays well. There's your story.
You have to get them outside that athlete mindset sometimes, not the one day at a time, one game at a time mindset.
Bingo. Yeah, look, anybody can be Derek Jeter, okay? Anybody can give you a quote that is either great, funny, or just subpar or boring or give you nothing because they don't want to give the gameplay away. But I learned in radio, right? In radio, there are 3 topics that generally every person can relate to: food, music, and animals, right? Pets, food, and music. Those 3 topics, anybody, either you're a cat person or a dog person. You love food of whatever it is, and you love some kind of music. Same thing with these are athletes, right? They all have taste. Some guys, they gave answers like, I play video games or whatever. Some girls gave boring answers too. But you know what? Those that have, fun little hobbies, those are the kind of stories that you and I know are more relatable and more fun to cover because they are outside the box from your regular person. So why not capitalize and call it Hoops and Hobbies?
Exactly. I look forward to seeing that. That sounds like a really good idea, but we know Chris is the idea guy. So I already know it's going to be good.
Probably one of the biggest pieces of inspiration I've had. And again, when you work in local TV, you don't always have a lot of resources. So you can't make a lot of great ideas come to life all the time because you need people and resources. But in 2016, first year I'm working in sports radio, right? At that time, I was trying to do the dayside sales and nighttime hosting stuff, which was really hard and I didn't like it. And so that's why I said, look, I'll take a pay cut and just be the on-air guy as opposed to sales. But back when the Dan Le Batard show, in my opinion, was steamrolling everybody on ESPN radio, one day he said a very valuable thing. He let 6 or 7 people call into his show pretending that it was their show on national TV and radio. And he said, there are so many of you that bash this show because we are anti-sports. He said, but most of you just do what everybody else does. You have a podcast or you have a radio show or you have whatever, and you just rip from the headlines. You don't create content. You copy and paste. You regurgitate what ESPN, CBS, or Fox Sports has. Oh, Tom Brady and the Belichick back in the news. It's a big scandal. He goes, everybody talks about it. You're not different. So he had like 7 people call in, and they all called in, and one person had like one different take than the rest of them. But within 5 seconds, he hung up because he said, see, this is my point. You're not special. You're not different. He goes, we create things. He goes, whether it's out of true chaos and thin air, because or it is planned stuff, like when Stu Gatz would call in to the biggest, most expensive restaurants in major cities the day before Mother's Day or graduation or Easter, and he would cringeworthy beg them, and he would plead with them to give him a table at a reservation only, and saying, listen, I took my wife there on our first date in college. It's where we came for our reception, and all this BS excuses. And you're sitting there on the radio going, oh my God, I want to turn away, but I got to watch the car crash. And he got people, Dan Le Batard got people that weren't even close to sports listening. He averaged 2 million people a day on a sports show that wasn't about sports on ESPN. And that there blew my mind and said, okay, now I get the show. Now I understand. It's about creating something and truly being different than everybody else. And that kind of stuff made me go, you know what? Outside the bunny, Nick, how many times have you watched a TikTok or Instagram video from people like us that are content creators? And it's either the stupidest stuff or it's the most relatable stuff about politics or food, or it's making fun of your spouse or whatever it is. And you go, it's so simple, and yet everybody relates to it. And that's the kind of stuff. So that's the mindset that I have. And I encourage people in this industry and outside that want to do content creation. Think of simple stuff that you can create that might explode or might copycat. Or, again, bring your own ideas to the table and throw the spaghetti, see what sticks, because you never know what might stick and what might make you a hit. You never know.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to do more with this podcast, talking about people's journeys to where they're at. Because you had a great story. I mean, we're talking sports still, obviously, because that's what we do for our jobs. But I didn't start with that. I wanted to hear about your journey and how people can, be better mentally, because a lot of the time,
it's a grind, man. It's
going through the journeys we've had, a lot of mental, you got to just get through it. Have to have positive mindset. That gets tough sometimes. So if I can bring somebody on, or that can inspire somebody else, or can get them in the right mindset, thinking, because you waited 7 years. I mean, look at that. I mean, you're the perfect example. You waited 7 years. It took me 5 months out of college to get a job. I thought that was a lot at that time. Not 7 years, man. So, but just touch on the last thing, since you cover them. I don't want to forget them. But Missouri State, new conference this year.
Yep.
They were FCS for football. When I covered North Dakota State, Bobby Petrino was there. Obviously, he's not there anymore. But that transition for football from the FCS and then just the new conference from Missouri State, how that's going for the school and how you see them being competitive there.
Major jump. When this got announced last year in June, I mean, it was huge, right? There has been such a giant sweeping change that's taken place here in Springfield since I arrived, right? I got here in mid-December of 22. Started working, covering the Bears and stuff in 23. And I can tell you that, again, right, I came on the tail end of the regime that was in power, right? The AD and all that, Kyle Moach, who's now over there at Eastern Kentucky, I believe, Eastern or Western Kentucky. But you could just, I don't want to say this like, I came from Gainesville and things were different, but came from Gainesville, Florida, man. Like, the University of Florida is an everything school, right? Barring football and what calamitous coaching carousel they've had for 15 years now. And that school is amazing. I mean, their standards, their resources are awesome. And so to come out here, it was an eye opener. Like, man, we're definitely kind of back down the athletic peg as far as resources and fans and attendance and excitement around campus. And so 23 was good for experience, but also like, man, we need a jolt. We need something, some injection of juice, right? You got to get the juice. Well, last year, the Kyle Moats left, and then Patrick Ransdell got hired. He came from, I'm blanking, Appalachian State. He came from App State, and he came out here. He's a guy in his mid to late 40s, And he's a guy that has great zest for life. He's a do guy. He's a note taker guy. He's somebody that is the perfect transition for this school. And so he has really helped get the ball rolling. He's bringing things out of, quote, the dark ages, I would call it. A lot of fans would as well. So we've got redesigns going on. We've got rebranding. And yes, he's helping to spearhead this charge into Conference USA. And for Missouri State, again, football has been down for quite some time. Men's basketball has been obviously having its fair share of troubles. But overall, the soccer program here, nationally respected. Women's basketball, Lady Bears, nationally respected. Baseball, nationally respected. Right? So you've got programs on campus that are part of those big three, football, baseball, basketball, that's got respect. Football, with Bobby Petrino, before I got here, he got it going. Ryan Beard took over. His son-in-law, who works alongside Bobby's son, Nick Petrino, who's the OC for the team. Right, so you've got a whole collection of family on this staff. But Ryan Beard, again, love that dude to death. That guy, he's a doer. That guy says what he means and means what he says. And the fact that he's been here taking over from Bobby and being able to have a team that is competitive, that makes people want to come to these games, that's really, again, helped usher in the excitement of playing in a new conference. Everything about what's going on and what's trending in Missouri State is on the up and up. And so, again, it's been a lot of fun to cover this program and see it go from, it's kind of the way things are done to, no, that's a death mindset. We want to change things. We want to bring excitement. We want to bring the juice to Springfield and make people talk about not sending their kid to Mizzou or KU or SLU or no, it's, hey, you grow up in Springfield, you should want to be a Bear. Like Ryan Beard always says, it's a great time to be a Bear. And he means it. And I know it's true because I'm seeing the changes and you can feel them. People in the community are starting to talk about Missouri State like I once heard they did when the great Jackie Stiles was leading the Lady Bears to the NCAA Final Four.
There you go, Jackie Stiles, big name there.
That's right. She is the queen. She is the queen of Springfield forever and always.
Oh, yeah, you saw her name up there, especially in Iowa because Caitlin Clark was chasing her record. So there you go for your Iowa people out there. And it's okay, yes, they can go to Missouri State over Missouri. That's definitely acceptable. That's definitely acceptable. I'll accept that. Chris, where can people see all your work? Obviously, I see it and I like it, so other people will like it too. Where can people see it all?
All right, so you can obviously find me on Instagram, Twitter. I know on Instagram I'm Color10Chris. On Twitter, it's just Chris _, Pinson _. But all right, so I did the one thing you should never do in TV, which is bury the lead. So I'm saving it for last because we'll call it a save the best for last. But all right, you mentioned perseverance. The one thing that I can tell you, right? You and I both know, and it's true. It's sad, but it's true what they say. Don't get into sports media to get rich. Like, just don't do it with the money in goal, because there are this many network jobs or this many legacy local media jobs that are going to pay you, 6 figures or north, right? They're going to make life real comfortable. So I will say this. Again, you have to love what you do every day. Because, again, I've done internships. I've had regular day jobs from teaching to sales to construction. And believe me, all those jobs, never liked them. Again, I enjoyed teaching, but it's not my passion. My passion is talking about sports, covering sports every day. So you have to pursue what you love. That is how you help make life more enjoyable. But again, right, when it comes to financial woes of doing what you love and not getting paid for it, Nick, I can tell you the lowest point I ever had, right, the mental grind. I was working in Sebring, doing the radio thing. It was 2019. It was my 3rd year there pretty much. And at that point, I was so broke. I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment, splitting it with my buddy, and he could afford to pay more. So he got the bedroom and I got the Loveseat. That was my bed for about 8 months. Okay. I was that flat broke. And I can't tell you how many times I would lay on that couch at night, staring up at the ceiling and just, again, if you're religious, I pray to God. If you're not, I pray to nobody. But, I just thought I would say, what am I doing? Is all of this worth it? Is everything I've gone through to get to this point, is it going to pay off? Am I just wasting my time? Should I just suck it up and get a day job and become a person that says, hey, at least I can say at night, I tried, and go to sleep that way? And so again, right, if you told me, was it 6 years ago now, that I'd be here doing this, I would have said, I'm not surprised, but I would also say, man, I can't believe it finally paid off. So to anyone out there that watches this, hopefully the whole thing, so you get to this part, again, I used to tell my middle schoolers this: you don't know what you can do. I mean, you just don't know what you can do. Again, you look at, like, I know there's a lot of people out there, kids especially, that think, I want to be a content creator and blah, blah, blah. Again, you got to figure out a way. If you're going to be a content creator, if you're going to be a famous play-by-play guy, if you're going to be the number one sales guy in your office, a CEO, the best teacher, whatever it is, you have to do so much work, and you have to work so hard to do it. And you have to have faith in yourself, because if you don't, you can't make it. And believe me, you're going to have a lot of times, you and I've had conversations off air about this, where life sucks sometimes and it's hard and you don't know what the future holds, but you know in your heart what you want it to hold. So I implore everybody out there, work hard, chase your dreams, because as Cody Johnson's famous country song says, chase the dream because the dream won't chase you back.
I'm just soaking that all in. That's beautiful. I really can't explain anything better than that. That's a great way to end things out. You're a testament to that hard work. And you've been very helpful in helping me through some things too as well. So I'm thankful for that. I'm glad that you could come on and hang out with me here on Cousins Conversations, Chris.
Hey, trust me, bro. It's fun. And listen, believe me, I promise you, next year we got to go to a game. We got to go to a baseball game.
We will.
I dropped the ball on that one this year, so next year we got to go to a game. Definitely would be a lot of fun.
Oh, for sure. I look forward to that. But until then, we'll see you guys all in the next episode. Have a good day. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment. Have a great week, everybody.